Hello and welcome to the 125th episode of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. Our guest, we are honored to have a Swansea resident, Lee Cutchall of Swansea, who is going to share his delightful new book, Sonny's Little Adventures. I'm reading my new glasses. Sonny's Little Adventure. And he's going to talk about his life with a Cocker Spaniel. Who is your Cocker Spaniel?
We have a little girl Cocker Spaniel. Her name is Cuddles, and she lives up to that name. She was the inspiration for the book. We got her a couple of years ago. Watching her grow up and watching her learn new things and see things for the first time inspired me to make some notes and then put it in a book.
You are a first-time author.
I am.
And I'm sure you are going to have a trail, a succession
I plan to.
So tell us about how are you so inspired?
Well, watching Cuddles, for instance, watching Cuddles the first time she saw a cat, she was amazed. I mean, it was awe-inspiring just watching her reaction. And then, there's a squirrel that comes in the backyard and eats the birdseed. Her watching the squirrel and going bananas. Those kind of things just inspired me to make some notes because I was kind of touched by those. And my wife suggested we put it in a book. So here we go.
Cocker Spaniel's a favorite breed?
Absolutely. Yep, we've had Cocker Spaniels for a good while. The last one we had, her name was Ziva. We had her for 11 years. And they become part of the family for sure. A big part of the family.
And then you just dove into becoming a first-time author, and a very successful one. We congratulate you on your success.
Thank you very much. I've had a lot of fun with it. It's really, until I started putting this together, I never even considered writing a book. But like I say, I was inspired, so.
And you are inspiring others to likewise pursue their dreams.
I hope so. It's been an adventure. It's been a learning experience too, for sure. So.
Did you ever, when you were younger, did you ever think of becoming an author?
No, never. Never even thought about it. Never crossed my mind. So.
Very good. So tell us about your book.
Well, it kind of tells everything from the beginning when Sonny was first adopted, and it talks a lot about little adventures, and he's actually looking for a big adventure, but what he's finding is on the way to finding the big adventure, he has these little moments that we all have. That he's realizing are his big adventure. So these little adventures that he learns to appreciate, and I think that's the lesson I want learned, is to appreciate the little adventures that we all have.
Read an excerpt for us.
All right. Let's see. All right. One cool spring morning, I was awakened by an unfamiliar smell. It made my mouth water and my tummy growl. What in the world was it? As I ran down the stairs to the kitchen, I saw Isabella and her mom laughing and having fun. There were so many new smells, I just didn't know what to do. Then they opened the door to the oven and there was the most wonderful smell, along with a blast of hot air. That was my first little adventure with peanut butter cookies. Oh my goodness, I just couldn't believe how they tasted. I never knew anything could taste that good. As we sat there eating those peanut butter cookies, I realized this was a great little adventure too.
That's beautiful.
tell you what, I've got a lot of response from people that have bought the book and read the book, and I have been touched at things people say. So.
And likewise, it's fascinating. I have to share with you.
Okay.
When I found out that, number one, I said, I'm always looking here for animal adventures, animal stories. I am fascinated by people who are authors. And when it all came together and found out that you lived in Swansea, down the street, I said,
down the street,
oh
right.
my God, you are going to be on our show.
I remember when I first got my first copy in my hands, I took a picture and posted it on Facebook. Within 3 minutes, you sent me a message saying I was going to be on your show. So, I guess it was inevitable.
As someone said to me this morning, they said that was a match made in heaven.
I think so.
So tell us more read some more.
All right. Without giving too much away, let's see. That night, Isabella and her mom were laughing and talking. They did such strange things in the living room. They put pillows and blankets everywhere. They made a big tent with a blanket hanging from the ceiling fan. It reminded me of our camping trip, and I was so glad to see them happy. As they lay on the floor next to each other and drifted off to sleep, I sat on the couch looking down at them, and I thought, I have spent so much time looking for my big adventure, but I have discovered that all my little adventures made up my life. And that was my big adventure.
Can you show me some of the illustrations?
Yeah.
They're beautifully done.
That's Sonny. And this is his mom. And Georgie, his brother. His little sister Amy. And there's a part where, if you got a second, I'll read this.
Sure.
See, there was Georgie. He was the biggest, and he made sure everyone knew it. When it came time for breakfast, I had to get there before Georgie, or there would be nothing left. He would growl and push me back. I first thought Georgie was just mean, but then I realized what he was doing. He was making sure little Amy got to eat first. You see, she was so small, and my big brother Georgie knew that she needed his help. That was my first lesson. Try to help someone when you can. Ever since then, I have always looked up to Georgie. He became my first hero because he made it his job to protect our little sister. So it's several little lessons like that.
Important lessons.
Important lessons.
Valuable lessons that
That's
people
right.
can learn from.
For sure. You know,
How long did it take you, Lee, to write the book?
well, I had notes, just kind of jotted down little scenes that I had in my head. Probably 6 months of that. And then my wife said, hey, you ought to put this together in a book. And then it was probably a few months by the time I sat down and organized it all and got it ready.
Now, where is the book available?
Everywhere. Barnes & Noble, Books A Million, Walmart.com, Book Soup, Amazon.
Now, what else? What's coming?
Well, this is called Sonny's Little Adventures. I've got another book that's almost ready to go to the publisher. It's the second in a series. It's called Sonny's Little Adventures, Making New Friends. It's probably going to be 6 or 8 months before it's actually available, but it carries on where this leaves off, and it's learning lessons about making friends. Now, it's set as dogs, okay, making friends with other dogs, but it's a good lessons for kids too, I think.
Very important lessons.
Very important lessons, absolutely.
Especially
Absolutely.
as a teacher.
Oh, sure.
These valuable lessons carry on through life.
Absolutely. Absolutely. You know, in the second book, there's a part where Sonny meets another couple of dogs that are there's a lot of differences. They're very different than him. And at first, he's kind of, nervous about that.
Is he a Cocker Spaniel too?
Sonny is, but
Yes.
no, the other ones are not. The other dogs are not.
What are they?
There's a little Yorkie named Cavo,
Okay.
and there's a Saint Bernard named Atlas. So there's a lot of differences. So Sonny has never seen, that
Range
much
of
range.
size.
That's exactly right. So he's a little taken back, but he learns that friends that are different is okay and even good. He learns that there's a lot of things that they can actually bring to a relationship, if you will, that he never would have experienced had he not allowed himself to get to know those different friends. So
This is getting better and better as we speak.
yeah, it's coming together real well. I'm very pleased with it.
And you will continue a series.
Absolutely, I have at least 5 outlined right now. So we'll see how it goes. There may be more, but
Are you interested in other animals?
I am fascinated with all types of wildlife. Even underwater wildlife. I'm a scuba diver. I love the exploration feeling.
You told me about some of your trips, and they're mouth-watering.
I have had so much fun. I have been blessed beyond measure. I have seen amazing creatures. I have seen octopus going across a coral reef right in front of me, 2 feet in front of me. Sharks bumping into me. I mean, not angry, just, out there. But I have been very blessed to see a lot of different kinds of creatures.
And you've traveled extensively.
Well, I don't know. Compared to most, or compared to a lot of people, I probably haven't traveled extensively, but we try to go as much as we can. We've
You told me about some of the places, and I'm saying,
yeah,
wow.
We've been all over the Caribbean. My son-in-law is a pilot for United Airlines. He lives out in Guam half the month, so we've gone out there with him. We made a couple trips to Europe. Probably our favorite place is St. Martin, down in the Caribbean.
One of my favorites.
Absolutely love it. We every time we go, we try to spend 10 days, and we rent a Jeep and we drive all over the island. And it's a little tiny island, but we drive all over the place.
I loved it.
It's funny. One thing that we have to do every trip we go on, we have to watch the sunrise. That's a rule. So we get up, no matter where we're at, we get up before daylight and we drive to the east side of the island, or if we're on a cruise, we get to the east side of the ship and we watch the sunrise together. That's a rule my wife and I have. And we love that. It's inspiring.
So tell me more about what's coming in the series. Are they all animal related?
They are. In fact, they're all going to be about Sonny, and it's going to be in the first person of Sonny. He's going to be talking about the things he experiences, and it's going to be from making new friends to living with loss and tragedy. Because we all face that at one time or another. It's going to be about traveling and meeting new friends in different places. It's and new people and animals coming in and out of your life. So it's going to be just like the life of the.
What advice would you give someone who I am constantly asked this question? How did you start? You've done so many things personally. What advice would you give someone who has maybe just penned a few lines down, who has a good idea? What advice as a new author would you share with them?
Well, I'm brand new, so I don't know if my advice would hold a lot of weight, but I would say absolutely write it down. Get it on paper or on an iPad or something, get it written down. In your head is great, but put it on paper. Once it's on paper, you can organize your thoughts, you can rearrange things, you can get a better grasp of what you have. This was in my head a lot, and it was kind of chaotic. Once I got it on paper and I was able to organize it, it became real. So I would advise, get it on paper, put it down. Whatever idea you have for a book or for whatever, write it down. That'd be
I
my
always
advice.
tell people to do some research, some accurate research, and if you want to write a book, find a publisher and pursue it.
Absolutely.
And don't give up and don't look back.
That's for sure. That's for sure. There's a lot. It was a difficult process. The biggest thing was I didn't know what to do. I didn't know where to go. I didn't know who to ask.
You don't know what you're saying now, how many people you are inspiring.
Well, I'll tell you, I was inspired. I got to looking at different books and thinking, wow, this is great stories. I have a great story, I think. Let me put it on paper, and my wife encouraged me to get it published and share it.
And share it. That is exactly right.
We have had so much fun with it. It's really been amazing. Really has.
You never look back.
Never look back. No. We're only here for a short time, so better enjoy it. It's better to
share your love of Cocker Spaniels.
Well, my wife and I got married very young. I was 18, she was 17. One of our favorite movies when we started having kids a couple of years later was what was the movie? Lady and the Tramp. You remember the Lady and the Tramp cartoon? We loved that. We watched that 1,000 times. We fell in love with Lady, little Cocker Spaniel in the cartoon. So a little bit later, we were looking at getting a pet, and hands down, it had to be a Cocker Spaniel right there, just because of our love of that cartoon and the time we had together watching that cartoon with our kids. So we've literally loved several Cocker Spaniels.
They're a lovely breed.
Sure.
They're
very
fun.
Very affectionate.
They're enthusiastic.
Absolutely. I don't know if you can see, there's a picture of Cuddles on the back of the book.
Yes, okay.
Yep. And she's the same colors as Sonny. So she looks like Sonny, but yeah, she was definitely the inspiration for that.
How long, I think I asked you, but how long, several months to get everything together?
Yeah, several months to get everything together. Probably the most complicated thing was the illustrator. I actually set several people up to do it.
Yeah.
And it just never worked out. For some reason or another, there was some kind of complication, family issues or whatever. And finally, I got the publisher to provide the illustrator. And I am sorry to say the illustrator's name is not even in the book anywhere. I'm not sure I'm not exactly sure who the illustrator was. But on the second book, the illustrator will be there.
Illustrator.
That's
yes.
right. And I'm using a local illustrator. Her name is Alicia. She's over in Rhode Island, south of Warwick, I believe. And
I've met her.
Yep, you've met her. You've met her. And Steve with Stillwater Publishing is going to publish the book for me. Great guy. But we've already got all that lined up and ready to go. So the second book will be a much smoother process, for sure.
You are available for book signings?
Sure, I would love to.
And lectures and talking and doing the whole 9 yards.
I maybe so. I would love to. Go to a little bookstore and read the book to kids. I think that would be great.
Children love animals.
Sure. Just a quick story. I was actually in Stop and Shop in Seekonk yesterday, and as I walked out, there was a dad with two little girls, probably 6 and 4 maybe, that were walking along in front of me, and one of them dropped something, so I stepped around her, but I was right there at my truck, and I opened the door, and I looked over at the dad, and I said, "Would you mind if I gave them a book?" And he's like, I guess so. So I reached in and handed this book, a copy of the book to this stranger, and he knelt down and opened it up and showed the little girls, and they squealed. They were so tickled that a stranger would give them a book about dogs. I mean, that was
and
pretty cool.
An author as well.
Yeah. In fact, it was funny because as I was backing out, I could see that he was showing them the picture on the back of me holding my Cocker Spaniel, and he was showing them the picture and pointing to me. So he was telling them that, this is the guy that wrote the book. So that was kind of fun.
That's a great connection.
Sure. Love it.
We've got time for another story? Another little adventure?
All right, let's see.
Without giving everything away.
Yeah, I don't want to give everything away. Hold on, give me 1 second. Let's see.
The illustrations are beautifully colored.
Yeah, I love the colors. Let's see. Okay, so I have had some pretty cool adventures, but I am still waiting for my big adventure. I heard Isabella and her mom talking about going on a boat ride. I didn't even know what a boat was, but I was sure hoping this would be my chance for a big adventure. We all got in the car and we drove what seemed like forever until we got to a place that smelled so strange. I could even taste salt in the air. It was wonderful. I jumped out of the car and ran around everywhere. There were so many huge birds. There were even birds that had gigantic mouths. Isabella called them pelicans. I never imagined there could be such strange and noisy birds. Isabella carried me onto this huge boat. There were lots and lots of people, and everyone just loved me. Those strangers would scratch me on the top of my head and run their fingers down my back. I was having so much fun. Then the big boat started to move, and I just panicked a little bit and started barking at everything. Everyone was laughing at me, and somehow that calmed me down. So I knew everything would be okay. As that big boat carried us out into the ocean and things calmed down, I remember sitting in Isabella's lap. She and I were just looking out across the water, and it was very peaceful. And I knew that I was the luckiest puppy around. That was a beautiful little adventure.
Nice. This would be a good book too, also for people learning to read in English.
Maybe so. I could see that for sure.
Have you ever thought, well, I know this is your first book, but translating it into other languages? because these are very poignant stories.
Honestly, I wouldn't have a clue how to do that. So I would be
I
looking,
know
looking
somebody
for
who
somebody
does.
with some advice
Yes.
on that. Yeah. That sounds good.
I know somebody who recently did that, and they said they shared their advice, their adventures about translating an English written book into
Nice.
a multi-language book
Okay. Nice. That would be fun. I would love that.
in Spanish or in Portuguese or whenever.
Yeah. Yeah. Very good. I've got some Portuguese friends. I'm sure they would get a kick out of that. So.
And every child loves to read, or most
Yep.
children love
Yep.
to read,
You're right.
and they all love animals.
Yep.
I can see you having a lot of fun expanding to all kinds of animals.
I can see that too. Yep. Well, I plan on Sonny meeting a lot of different kinds of animals, and we're gonna get into that closer relationships with different animals as we go along in the books.
You've got maybe 5 planned?
Right. I've got outlines for 5, and counting this one. So I've got outlines for 4 more.
When do you ever stop?
I don't have time to stop. There's so many things to do. I try to stay busy.
And you scuba? You go scuba diving?
I scuba. I do woodworking, tons of woodworking. I do some oil painting.
Really?
Yep, yep. I used to fly. I've got my pilot's license. I've lost my medical, so I don't fly anymore. But
Talk about your oil painting.
there again, inspired by Cuddles, I've actually got a photograph of her laying down asleep with her eyes half open and her tongue sticking out. So we took a picture, gorgeous picture, fell in love with the photograph, and I put it on canvas with oil paints, and it's hanging in the living room. I have been inspired by sunrises, so I have painted a lot of sunrises. Really enjoyed that. It's kind of funny how that came about. I had a little time where I went through some insomnia and couldn't sleep much. So I decided, if I'm going to be awake, I'm going to do something productive. And I started painting and kind of taught myself, and I'm not going to have any of my paintings hanging in the wall in the museums or anything, but I like them. And I've had fun with that too.
And that's important.
Sure.
And they are telling me that we are coming to a close. It has been fascinating.
Thank you very much.
And you will be back again and again and again.
I can plan on that.
And I know where you are. You're in Swansea.
You know how to find me.
It was a pleasure. Good luck with the book.
Thank you.
And I'm sure I'm going to have everybody in Swansea and beyond will be interested in purchasing a copy of the book and selling and sharing with their friends.
Very good. Very good. Thank you very much.
Okay, very good. Thank you and welcome again to the 125th edition of Fur, Fins, and Feathers. We'll see you in a couple of weeks. Thank you.